But regulation doesn't just stifle competition at home. To illustrate this, let us imagine a less than efficient European manufacturer. The firm was great back in the day, but over the years they've let things slip a bit. The factory's a bit shabby, but it's homely, and they like to do things the traditional way. What they lack in efficiency and new ideas, they make up for in old-world charm. Oh, crikey, what's this? A pesky new rival firm somewhere in Asia. They've got lab coats. And just look how good he is at maths. His mate too, not quite as good. And they're checking all the products, the big swats. At our Euro firm, the products haven't changed much in a while. And what's the point of a fancy new machine when you can give customers the hands-on personal touch? It seems to have worked all right in the past. Oh, but look at the Asian fellas. Their umbrellas have clever sci-fi buttons to make them open. Oh, what? The buttons make them come down too. How do they even do that? Our Euro firm faces a tough choice. Do they tidy up the factory, buy some lab coats and give everyone calculators? Or do they get the next train to Brussels? Over at the EU Directorate of External Relations Commission Council, a sympathetic official hears the problem. These blasted Asian brollies are better and cheaper. Aha! This is just the kind of abuse the EU was set up to tackle. The official comes up with 3 brilliant solutions. 1. Tariffs. Let's slap a tax on all those fancy oriental brollies. 2. Quotas. Let's limit the number of Asian brollies coming in. 3. Complex and cleverly drafted regulations, saying you have to wear braces and eat spaghetti to make brollies.
With protectionism, you are basically trying to protect industries that otherwise wouldn't do very well in a competitive environment. Otherwise, you wouldn't bother to protect them.
You only create a trade barrier because somebody else has got a better, cheaper product. Otherwise, why would you create a barrier?
What we have here is something that portrays itself as a free trade area, but is actually erecting barriers and walls to the rest of the world.
Our inefficient manufacturer is delighted. But how about the rest of us?
If you are propping up and sustaining inefficient ways of doing business, then the people who suffer are the customers. You are preventing your citizens from accessing better, cheaper products.
You name it, TVs, laptops, sofas, EU regulation and trade barriers pushes up the price of everything. The cost of living goes up, Europeans get poorer. But it wasn't just manufacturers who sought protection. Farmers like it when food prices are high. So when a French farmer, say, finds that African farmers are beginning to sell their produce in Europe, he's not happy. Our EU Commissioner knows the routine. Tariffs, quotas, regulations, saying you need to wear berets and drink Ricard to grow food.
This is particularly pernicious for African producers of food, who find that they face a big tariff barrier when trying to export to Europe. Now that's bad for them because they can't earn money, and it's bad for British consumers because their food costs more.
But not content with trade barriers, farmers wanted the EU to drive food prices still higher. To that end, the EU bought gigantic amounts of agricultural produce and simply allowed it to rot, creating an artificial shortage which pushed up prices. These were the famous wine lakes and butter mountains.
In northern France, part of the so-called butter mountain. The British say that heaps of butter like this are indefensible follies. The French say they're necessary and completely sensible.
It didn't take long for people to wise up to the absurdity of it. And not just its absurdity, its immorality, frankly.
All this is rotten for us consumers. Because of the EU, for decades, food and drink has cost far more than it should.
It adds between 10 and 20% to the cost of food.